We'll pick one. Hi, it's Exploring John. Today we're going to start another batch of wine. We're going to make wineberry wine. Now wineberries, they grow like the edge of the forest. A lot of people want to think that they're red raspberries, but they're wineberries. If we look close, we'll pick one. There's an orange cone behind. So that's a wineberry, not a red raspberry. So we're making wineberry wine. Now first, of course, we're going to have to pick the wineberries. Now that we've picked our berries, we've put them in this and rinsed them. Put them on some paper towels to kind of drain them. Now we're putting them in this cookie pan to freeze them. This way we can accumulate enough berries to make our wine. So now that we've frozen our berries, we're taking it out and putting it in a gallon freezer bag until we have enough berries to make our wine. So we're just scooping some in. Okay, I've been picking berries for a while. Some of them we have that are fresh. These are some fresh ones I picked. Then I've got a bag I froze, which is here, and we're going to put them all through this food processor to break it down to juice. So I've rinsed these berries, and we're going to dump them in the food processor. So we picked about 6.5 pounds of berries. We did weigh them. And all right, now that we got our berries in, we'll put the lid on. Okay, and and now we'll pulse it. It's doing it. All right, now we'll put it on and let it run. That seems to be enough. We'll turn it off. Let's see what we have. All right, now we'll open up the lid. Careful we don't make a mess here. And we've got our fermenter here, our primary, and we'll just pour it in. Let's see, clear the blade. Put the blade back on, and we'll do some more and keep going until it's all juiced. Okay, so that's where we're at now. Is we've got the berries done. We're gonna have to add some water and some additives. I've got my scale out to measure the sugar, but before we put the sugar in, we're gonna add a gallon of water. Go slow. This will help give the sugar something to go into to dissolve. Smells like berries. Now we're going to add our sugar. We've got it on a scale. We're trying for 7.5 pounds. We're going to go there and then we're going to see where we're at when we look at it with the hydrometer. Alright, there's 3. We'll put that in. That's 7.5 pounds of sugar. set that aside and add some more water. Here's our second gallon. That's kind of splashy. So we grabbed our funnel, put that in here so it won't splash so bad. Set that down while we refill. Here's our third gallon. Sometimes you need more hands than you have. Just stick that in there like that. Let's check our height here. Okay, we're a little under 5 gallons, but before we add anything else, we're going to take a measurement. We have two tools here. One's a thermometer, and one's a hydrometer. So without stirring it, it's showing 5, but we need to stir that sugar up and dissolve it. So this is my stir, big wooden dowel rod. Let's put our tools back in here and do some measurements. All right, with those readings, we're going to add some more water because we're below 5 gallons. So we added our sugar. We use 7 3/4 pounds. We've added our water and brought that up, and that's just a little over 5 gallons. It's actually 20 liters. We're measuring 10% alcohol level, so when this ferments out, we should get 10%, and that should give us what we need. Now we have to add our additives. We're going to start with acid blend. We're going to use 7.5 teaspoons. 7.5. Next, we need the yeast nutrient. So we're going to be using 5 teaspoons of that. And 5. Alright. Next we'll use the pectic enzyme. And we're going to need, I got a little list over here, 2.5 teaspoons. Okay, 2.5. And the next thing is our tannin, and we're going to do 1 1/4. Now I'll put this on top because it's really powdery. It'll stick to the plate. That way it'll go right in. So what did we say? 1 1/4. And there's the quarter. Now we'll take, I had the lid on to keep stuff out, and we'll take and just dump all this in. Then we'll get our stirring rod and we'll stir it. I'll show you what this looks like when we're done. So this is what our must looks like, and that's what it is before you turn it into wine. Right now it's just must. Our temperature, we're looking for around 75, a little bit higher or lower won't hurt it. Now we're gonna pitch our yeast. We're using this EC1118. So we'll open it up and just sprinkle it on. And we'll leave it on top. And that's it till tomorrow. We'll come back and stir it every day till it's done. And what's going to tell us when it's done is this hydrometer. So when it gets down to about 3, we'll pull it and put it in the secondary. That's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow to stir it. All right, here we are. Started day 2. We mixed this up yesterday, and today we're going to stir it. Oh, look at that. Lots of bubbles. Look at the color in there. You know, the brown and all, which is not unusual, with that pink. That's really cool. Boy, what a cap it's got. It's thick. We're going to punch that down. That's so if there's anything that's nasty, it won't grow in the air and mess up our wine. By putting it underwater, that'll kill anything. So you got to get some air down in there because the yeast does need some air to breathe. So at this point in making wine, air is not your enemy. I like to use the alcohol scale just because it's easier to read. Okay, it's still just a hair under 9, or rather, it's still just there at 10, just a little bit lower. But for day 1, that's good. We were glad to see the bubbles. Put the lid back on. Notice we didn't put it on tight because air is not our enemy. We just want to keep out nasties. So usually over the hole, I'll put a napkin and put a coin. All right, see you tomorrow. Here for day 3. Take a look. And now we have to punch down the cap. It's not as thick as it was yesterday. Mostly it looks like little seeds. This is also getting air into it. The yeast needs some air to breathe, to do their thing. Get the right scale. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8. It looks like it's at a 8, so it's gone down a little bit, which is good. That tells us the yeast is eating the sugar. And that's it for day 3. We'll come back tomorrow and stir it again and check out the hydrometer and see what it reads. Here we are, day 4. Coming and getting ready to take a look at it. Open the lid and here we go. Punch down the cap. Let's look at our hydrometer here. Finding the side I'm looking for. Okay, looks like it's a 7. So it's dropping, that's good. If you're wondering what happened to the thermometer, I took it out yesterday. Okay, that's it for today. We'll come back tomorrow and stir it again. We're back, day 6. We may have lost day 5, but we stirred and did everything like the day before. So here we are, day 6. We'll open it up and take a look at it. Open it up. Got a nice cap. Let's see where we're at here. It looks a little over a 3. I'm going to go ahead and knock this cap down, but not too bad, because it looks like we want to go ahead and rack this. Let's look at this again. Well, it's about a 4. So we may come back and rack this later on tonight or maybe tomorrow. We'll let you know. We're going to take one last look at our wine here. So this is what it looks like. Showing like a 3. So that's telling us it's time to rack it. Here we go. Now we'll get it started, and we're going to start with this gallon jug and put some in that before we put it in the 5. Here it comes. We want it to get low, it'll come out faster. This is all gravity fed. If we put all 5 gallons in the 5, then we didn't have any head space in case it bubbles up. Looks nice. So we're not putting it under the wine. We want it to get air. It's like its last huzzah. Well, that's draining down. I'm going to show this to you. I've got an airlock on it, and it's going to start bubbling away here shortly. Because what it is, the yeast that are in there and it's eating the sugar, they're burping. And this is the yeast burps coming up and pushing out, and that won't allow air to go in, just the yeast burps to go out. We'll go ahead and pull our hydrometer out. I think next time that I do this, I will put it through a straining bag, just because all the little seeds. But we're just going to deal with it. Since most of the seeds are floating, I'm going to let it get down low and try and pull it before we hit that foam and seeds. We'll see how it goes. I'll lean the container over. I'll take something and prop underneath it. Like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put it in these glass carboys and with the airlock and let it sit there 3 weeks to a month. And that should give the yeast time to eat the rest of the sugar that's in there and then die off. And we'll rack it again, and we should end up with a pretty clear wine. Trying to spin it around so you can see. We're seeing the bottom. Well, the foam's collapsing, and we're going to pull it. We're all done making this wine, this wineberry wine. It'll sit in this 5-gallon jug for 3 weeks to a month, then we'll rack it again, and a couple months after that, it'll be ready to drink. Thanks for watching. See you next time. As we look at the top of the jug, we could see foam on top of the wine. That yeast is really going to town there. And we can see the airlocks bubbling already.